we can make this easy and do this easy so we can do the hard way. That's why it's part of us. Easy way so we can do the hard way. There's no evidence for anything. There's no evidence for anything. This is what I'm telling you. Nobody knows my emotions more than I do. And nobody can say my experiences about Melly because I was the person that experienced it. Understand? So I don't understand. No, you don't understand. If you understood, you would have learned to go to the child molester.
No, Delilah. I'm going to stop you right there.
Hold on.
Who do you want to go? The police are going to go get your child and take her to whoever's going to hold her till she transfers custody.
She's not going with him.
Yeah, she is.
No, she's not. I have 5 days to take a drug test, she said.
No, the judge said you said that you're refusing to do it, so she's saying you're being taken into custody right now.
How does this happen before we even go to a trial?
You
stop just blowing me off and explain to me?
Ma'am, nobody's blowing you off.
You're not telling me
I've explained
anything.
it to you. The judge explained it to you 4 times.
I don't understand if this is, because 1 minute I'm being told this is not a criminal case, and the next minute I'm being told I'm going to jail, and my daughter's being ripped out of me, out of my hands.
She made it clear to you. She's the judge. It's an order. It's not a suggestion. It's an order.
I'm not giving up my kid.
Well, then
you're going to be in jail.
You're going to be in jail.
That doesn't mean that I have to give up my kid.
Yes, it does. Oh, yeah, it does.
She's 13.
She's entering the order right now.
Privilege, and you have the fortunate to even know me, Delilah. So do not call me up and disrespect me.
It'd probably be easier if I didn't freaking know you had to put up with Sarissa.
I mean, get her goddamn name right, or I ain't gonna fucking let you say it again.
Dad.
What? What do you have to say to me, Delilah?
You please just back the freaking papers.
I moved away. I moved away. You know what? Maybe I shouldn't sign these papers. Maybe I should just let you grow up to be a fucked up little kid like your mom is.
Thank you, longtime viewers of this channel, Just Conspiracy. You recognize this woman, our angel, Angela Freiner. But for all of the new people showing up, let me thank you for joining us here. What you just heard is a woman, Angela Freiner, her daughter, you heard her daughter at the beginning, Delilah, testifying in a court, telling a judicial officer that the guy over there molested her. Don't make her go. Angela Freiner was arrested to force little D-Love to go. It was tragic. It was awful. It wasn't quite as bad as what happened next. After that, I published a video about these things where judicial officers and lawyers, attorneys, guardians ad litem, psychologists, they were all getting together, giving each other business, making a scheme out of everything and not applying any law. It's typically the first video that pops up that you can click on any of my latest videos. It's probably the most important video I've ever made. Lawyers, judges, attorneys, psychiatrists colluding with each other to break up and destroy families. If that doesn't scare you, I guess you don't believe in hell. I don't know. Anyways, I put that video out on March 6th of 2021. And Angela Freiner was arrested on March 8th. She was arrested for threatening a judicial officer because she sent an email saying actions have consequences. Scared the judicial officer so much to have her arrested. When they arrested her, they didn't have a warrant. And at this moment in time, there was a good momentum of people getting behind her saying, hey, you guys, what y'all did taking D Love, that wasn't right. You guys gonna uphold the law maybe? We'll show you what the law is. But that's not what hurt the most.
No, but there is something going on in the comments I'd like to address, which is that it appears that Angela Freiner might be in more trouble with the, they're accusing her of more death threats. And someone in the comments, and I've heard this online a lot, bringing up Evita Tolu. Evita represented Angie Freiner for a while. But unfortunately, and they're saying in the comment section that Evita quit on her. That is not accurate. That is not an accurate description of what happened. Angie did not want Evita's help anymore. Angie has decided that she wants to go with the sovereign citizen people who have their, it's a very bad idea and I wouldn't recommend it, but no lawyer that you're working with who's a member, who's went to law school will ever argue for you under sovereign citizen issues. Okay. They're not, you are subject to the laws of this country, and nothing you say in a court of law.
All of that is true, but Angie has also still not seen her 14-year-old daughter.
And that is also true. That is also true.
And
but Angie and Evita parted ways because Angie wasn't taking the advice of her counsel. And you can't get, it's not because Evita didn't do everything she could for her. She also raised almost $18,000 for her client that she gave to her for living expenses. She never took a dime from Angie. And I know that it's difficult. Angela's had a very tough time, and nobody's going to say anything bad about Angela here, but she's Angie's under a lot of stress, and she couldn't, Evita can't help her right now. That's just all there is to it.
Here you have the people who were bringing out the story, who were talking about it, getting this public support. They say she's going with what I can assume, I'm the sovereign citizen. I'm the sovereign citizen. I'm such a moron for saying, hey, what's the nature of the wrong and the cause of the accusation? Because that's all I did. If you go back and watch the videos I made about it, I'm saying, hey, what's the nature of the wrong and the cause of the accusation? That's step one. Step two is, let's get the accuser up on the stand. That's step two. Once I know the nature of the wrong and what you're accusing me of, well, who's this that is doing the accusing? Let's get them on the stand so I can question them. See what's going on. Never happens. It has never happened. And that's really funny, because that's something that has to happen in law before they arrest you. Right? Somebody has to go in, sit down with the judicial officer or magistrate, say under oath or affirmation what they know with first-hand knowledge, because otherwise it would be hearsay. And then they're supposed to issue an arrest warrant. Let's just follow that process. And I would like to say that I really do appreciate Evita Tolu for representing Angela to get her out of jail. And we probably would have never gotten her out of jail without the public support, without the people showing up, without people in the public putting their energy behind the idea that this was wrong. Because if we did not show up for Angela, she would have remained in that jail cell until she took a plea bargain, maybe got some prison time. I don't know how much they wanted to punish her, but they were the ones who stole her child. Why should she be punished? So Megan Fox, if you're watching this, I just wish for you to know, Angela has not had to pay $1, except for the filings that she mailed and the mailing fees. Nothing. She doesn't have anything. I can't charge anybody anything. Kind of the ways of this. but I wish for us to sit down and have a for real conversation about the problem. Because I agree with you. The problem is sovereign citizen arguments. On that, we can rest assured. I'm just saying, they got your mind a little twisted around if you believe asking what the nature of the wrong and the cause of the accusation is sovereign citizen arguments. If you believe asking them to put the accuser up on the stand is a sovereign citizen argument, you are gravely mistaken. If you believe that asking the clerks to file things for you is a sovereign citizen argument, if you believe getting disclosure from the prosecution is a sovereign citizen argument, if you believe having competent witnesses come and testify in court and getting a fast and speedy trial is a sovereign citizen argument, then I would have to disagree. And not only are they not sovereign citizen arguments, they're really, really good arguments to have, because without me doing something wrong, you shouldn't be able to do something wrong to me. And if I did something wrong, somebody else should have had to have been at the end of that wrong. So let's get them in here to verify what I did wrong to them. Seems pretty simple to me. So here's my argument. Is the people who are making sovereign citizen arguments are judicial officers. And the people upholding them is everybody around the court, because it's just that corrupt. And let's see why I believe this. And we're going to start with some audio. But before we get into that, I just wish for everybody to know Angela is trying to tell them, don't quit prosecuting. If you are going to give up prosecuting, discharge this case altogether. Because at this point, we pretty much know they never meant to take it to trial. Otherwise, they would. It's not like she had an attorney, and that's the thing that they were most afraid of. They did not know what Angela was going to say to that jury. They could not control Angela or what she did. And it would be incredibly difficult to explain an email saying there are consequences to your actions without telling the jury that the state had kidnapped her daughter, sent her to a place that was being accused of child trafficking, being sued for child trafficking and child labor. Because I bet you're not going to convince a jury. That would be my guess. And on top of that, you still have to have the individual who actually got hurt come in and put their story on the record of the court. And so they took Angela, they kept her under a bond for over 2 years, couldn't leave the state, can't carry on your life. They used this as a reason to take the rest of her custody away, because we have to punish the people who tell the truth in this society. These are our values. These are our values. And how do you know that they did this? Because over 2 years later, they put in something saying, yeah, we don't even care to prosecute. And here's the ride. I was talking to Angela. She said the first time she believes they never filed for her was November of 2020. And we are going to hear just a piece of that, just a clip of that in Zellweger's courtroom. This is before the daughter was taken, and Angela was arrested by about 4 or 5 months.
So I'm looking at you. Are you ready to leave with Dad? I'm ready to There's, you don't have a choice. The court has an order that is entered that you're going to go with Dad. I don't want to go there. I don't feel comfortable there. There's no evidence at this point before the court. There's no pending motions other than the ones that are filed on this side. So the court has no ability to take any action. And the GAL has not indicated that she's filing anything today, my understanding.
At the end, you say that contact the CPS and CPS has not seen records that they did check the case is closed.
Case is closed. So I need you to go ahead and
I have some motions I want to file today.
you can file your motions today. Nothing is scheduled for Thursday, but you can file everything you have today. That's fine. My clerk can take it at the end.
So, in that little clip right there, Angela, well, first, Nicole Zellweger, the thing, tells Delilah, here's what's gonna happen. Well, I don't want to go with them. Well, nobody's asking for you not to go with them. GAL, are you asking for Delilah not to go with the dad as she wishes? Nope. We're closing this. Everything's all good from my point. Angela, here comes in Angela. Hey, I'll motion. I got motions ready. What do you think? Nope, we're not going to hear your motions. Your motions aren't good enough. It's really, really funny that the GAL's motions were good enough, but Angie's isn't. Does that seem like equal protection of the law to you? And it's Angie's testimony to me. After that point, court wouldn't file for her anymore. But let's see what happens. I believe the next audio, this next audio is going to be Angela in court talking to the judicial officer because they wouldn't file anything. This is the first time she's going into court. She's speaking with the judicial officer after the clerks haven't filed anything for Angela. So she has a whole lot of reasons to stop all this nonsense now.
I have motions today, yes.
I'm sorry.
I have motions today, yes. We spoke a little bit about that.
Yeah. What are your motions today?
I have several. Motion to discharge, motion
To discharge what?
charges on lack of an accuser. There's no firsthand knowledge on the record. I've not been allowed to have court access. They have not allowed me to file any of my paperwork. It's been happening quite a bit.
Well, let's talk about that. I want to know about this. What is it that they have not been able to allow you to do?
My filings don't go in.
What do you mean your filings aren't going?
I file them and then they never come up on CaseNet. I have, they don't do anything.
What do you mean now? Are they in CaseNet?
I don't get stamped copies back.
Well, you should be getting file stamped copies back. Anything you file, you should be getting a file stamped copy. Are they just electronically filing these? But they should still stamp a copy, wouldn't they, Scott?
We only provide a copy to the party if the copy is provided to us and sent back.
Okay.
If the copy is not provided, we do not send it back.
That information I did not have.
I'm sorry?
That information I did not have, but then nothing shows up on CaseNet. So that's my only way to check on anything is through CaseNet.
Well, let's do this. I want you to refile anything that you think is necessary. And you have a copy of it, just make a copy.
Yeah.
And then take the original sign would be filed. And then your copy would be file stamped. And anything that you file should be showing up on CaseNet. Anything you file. This order is saying that you are representing your legal representative against my wishes. That you are. And
anything you do, it's really interesting because Angela has tried filing with them. She has even emailed it to people at the clerk's office. She gets this answer, you have to file it. Well, why doesn't somebody file it? Who do I have to talk to get this stuff filed? Is that really how confusing law is? Do attorneys have to go to school for an extra 3 years to get their doctorate in law just to know the proper place to file with the clerk? Is it really that confusing? Because if it is, our society really, really has a problem. He's saying, they have to do this for you. Well, great, because I have a whole list of reasons to throw this out, and they haven't been filing them. That's why I'm talking about them with you here at the court. Well, that shouldn't be going on. I'm glad we agree with each other on what the law is. And I'm really, really hopeful and glad that Michael, Judicial Officer Michael, agrees with me that the clerks have to file this stuff. And if they don't, then they're denying you of due process. And I would hope and pray a judicial officer may uphold the law in that situation. But I fear maybe not. Maybe not. Anyways, this is a different clip, comes from a different parts. And again, not only were they not giving her a fast and speedy trial, they weren't communicating with her, they weren't allowing her to file, they did not give her the video evidence. Like, obviously they had cameras, right, going to go arrest her. She can't get them. She can't get them. So she brings this up to Judicial Officer Michael.
That should have the force and effect of you being able to speak to the prosecutor at any time about your case.
Yes. And if I don't answer, I'll get back to it as soon as I can possibly can.
All right. Do you have a card that you can give her, maybe, Joshua?
Hold on.
Yeah, let's get that information.
Another thing I should say to you, Ms. Freiner. You can waive a jury trial and have a judge trial.
I would not like to do that.
Okay. You have that opportunity. I want it on the record.
Okay.
Really? You guys are locking me up without any facts on the record. You don't have any first-hand testimony of what you're alleging. You didn't have a warrant when you came and picked me up. You haven't given me a fast and speedy trial. You won't show me any of the evidence. But you want me to trust you for my trial? I'll take a jury. And she's lucky. He's upholding the law for her. I was not afforded that opportunity right there. They took that one from me, so shoot. Okay, so here's Angie trying to get the recording. The judicial officer just said she should be able to get it. All she has to do is talk to the prosecutor. They've exchanged information and everything.
Well, I've tried to get like the police report and stuff, and that was in the record, but there was body cam footage of the arrest that I'm not able to get, that wasn't in the discovery.
You know what to get that? Oh, yeah. That can't be kept from you.
That it has to this point.
We're changing it.
Okay.
I think part of the problem was is that you were not at that time recognized as of counsel.
Alright. Let me take a minute to explain to you that last 30-second clip. And my apologies, I didn't remember what was coming up next. So here's what Angela's saying. Now that I got his information and everything, these guys, they won't hand me any of the evidence. I'm asking for the video. I'm asking for the audio. I like to keep recording, so I would like to have theirs. And they're saying that because of what's on that audio and video is why I got to be locked up for maybe 7 years. I for sure have a right to it. And judicial officer, upholding the law again, agrees. Yes, you for sure have the right to that one. And we're going to change that. We're going to make sure that they give it to you. Here it is. Right about a year over. Lo and behold, Angela still doesn't have it. And now they're putting in a no prosecution order. They're not going to prosecute. You're not going to prosecute. And what does the judicial officer say there at the end? Because this is one of those really, really big points of law. Like, if you don't have this, this is the base of where all of your rights come from. And the judicial officer is saying, I'm ordering for you to represent. He doesn't exactly say it like that. But be your own legal counsel. Because how does one represent themselves? How do I represent a case that I can only present before you? I mean, I understand how attorneys can represent other people because other people bring them a case and say, here's what happened to me, here's what's wrong, here's what they did to me, and the attorney takes their case and what they can put together, and then they go into court, and the person who's hiring the attorney, the client, stays over here, right? He sits over here. He's not quite in the pews. He's beyond the bar, and the attorney represents their case. And what is this difference between present and represent? Well, what is another word for present? Like a gift. What's another word for present? Like present, like right now. Like right now. Because you can only present a present in the present time. Right? That's it. And what is this now? What is it? It's kind of like experience. It's like something that you can't escape. That's why the time is always now. And life is always present. Now, if time is always now and life is always present and the experience is all going on right now, then what does it mean when you say you're representing it? I guess that can't live in the now. It's got to be something else. Maybe fiction? Maybe fiction. And if people just knew this one aspect, because Megan, I thought you were asking, how did Angela get this done? She just refused to be a fiction. That's all she did. She was here, now, present, on top of things, quick, sharp, saying, hey, don't you guys got to do this? Don't you guys got to do that? I'm glad you agree with me that you got to do this and that. The only problem is, here we are about a year later. They haven't been done. They haven't been done. But Delilah still has not been seen by Angela.
So she's a journalist.
Okay.
I believe.
Yes.
So that's different than you referring.
Well, would you be able to release it to me?
It depends. Are you using it for civil or are you using it for criminal?
Criminal.
Defense?
Yes.
Okay, then you would have to go through the court proceedings on that to get copies of that from the prosecuting attorney.
Yeah, see, I've done that and without success. Even with the judge telling them to release the body cam footage to me, I've still not been successful in receiving it from the prosecuting attorney. So I was trying to find any way to receive the body cam footage. So I did a FOIA, and I've had nothing but problems trying to receive that footage.
Yeah, if that's the case, then we made the mistake, and I'll admit it. We made the mistake of releasing the first one to you if it was for criminals.
So, she can't get the videos from the DA. Well, there's another way to try and go get videos. I'll just FOIA it. Freedom of Information Act. Yep. Oh, you can't give it to me either? Oh, I gotta go back to the court, to the judicial officer, and do the thing that you guys already heard a little bit ago? You mean the thing I already did? I gotta do that. So, I guess maybe part of that 3 years getting your Juris Doctorate is to figure out how to go get some information from the police station. How to pull up videos and stuff. It's amazing we have people with non-college degrees working in those offices actually getting it for you. That just blows my mind. Anyways, the last part, Ange, she's going to call the district attorney's office, talk to them.
Okay, ma'am?
Yes.
Your prosecutor is Joshua, but he's not available at the time.
What's his name?
The attorney is Joshua, but he's not available at this time.
Can you spell his last name?
So they kept on switching between Joshua, whatever his last name is, and Nagy, or Jessica Nagy, I believe. Just so to make it confusing on who was actually the DA at the time, whenever she would call or try and communicate, just to kind of try and switch that up on her. So this is the first time she's hearing about Joshua. Upon my information and belief, I believe this was actually before she went into court, like right before she went into court, and y'all heard that audio earlier.
No, he's not available at this time.
Can you spell his last name?
Lubatin.
Okay, and contact information for him?
No, that would be the number.
That's
just this number?
Just this.
Does he have voicemail?
That's the only number.
No direct number.
Yes. Let me give 1 second.
We don't have budgets for direct numbers. Hold on a minute. Let me see if I can tell you that.
Okay, no, ma'am, this would be the only contact number to be able to get a hold of this person. Other than that, it would be only in court.
Nothing else.
Well, that's kind of strange.
No.
There's no contact information, so how do I file anything with him?
Okay, that's all we can do. We cannot.
Okay, so how do I get the court documents I need that I filed to him?
You can bring it into the court date.
So I can only bring in my filings to the court date?
Correct.
This isn't normal. I don't understand what's going on. This isn't normal. I should be able to serve my paperwork on him besides in court.
No, unless you have an attorney, then the attorney will be able to speak to them.
I don't need an attorney for anything. I should be able to do...
Only if you have an attorney. Nobody will talk to you without a certified bar attorney. You have to have an attorney. Why? If you have to have an attorney, then you do not have rights. I actually think it's interesting because it's only been really, really recently where I have just seen them run over running over rights. It's only been this year where they have really just gone full steam ahead. And you know what? It doesn't surprise me that people who have attorneys are losing rights the same way. Like when they're right, when they have law, look at the Proud Boys trial and what's going on. It's not lawful to close public courts off to the public. That's when things get scary. That's when things get scary. But it's okay because all of these attorneys understand. We're just going to let them understand that for us. But that means that you don't have any rights. If you can't exercise a right, then how can an attorney, how can someone who is attorneying you, by very definition, how can they represent the rights you cannot present in the first place? And how are you supposed to have a fair trial at all when the defense will not communicate with you, will not give you the evidence that's it's supposed to have? See, when you have an attorney, you're not allowed to get that evidence. The attorney gets it on your behalf. And they have rules saying that you can't get it. That's why they don't want to give it to her. They stole her child and sent her to a place that was being sued for child trafficking. You're gonna let them get away with violating her rights on something like that? Because if they can do it to her, they can do it to anybody. And that's what they say. They say, we can't talk to anybody but an attorney.
All of this on my own. So there is no contact information.
Again, if you're just...
There's no contact information for this prosecuting attorney.
No, this is the only number you can get a hold of them. And unfortunately, when there's no attorney involved, then you cannot transfer.
I don't need an attorney involved to be able to transfer or file anything. I don't need an attorney to represent myself.
Okay, then in court, you'll be able to give this attorney your whatever paperwork is needed.
What about my discovery? How do I file discovery with him if I have no contact information?
Within the court. Within the court, ma'am.
I've done that 3 times, ma'am, and nothing. I've gotten nothing back. 3 times I filed discovery.
They haven't filed it? Let me check on the case. Okay. One moment. Let me see if I can get someone else to help. One moment.
God, you're really frustrating. I'm going to put you on pause and make you listen to music until you just hang up. Will you please hang up, Angela? Oh, you're still there?
Yeah?
Yes.
Yes, you can go ahead and mail it to us as well.
Okay, what about my discoveries that I filed 3 times?
You can file that with us.
I've done that 3 times already.
And mail
No
it.
response.
I'm sorry?
I've done that 3 times already with no response.
Okay, we're not the court, though. You can file it with us in the prosecuting attorney's office. We're not
right,
the court.
but I have done that, and the prosecuting attorney has not responded. I have filed them 3 times.
Okay. Well, there's much I cannot help you with, so I don't know how else I can help you.
All right, well, I want to leave a message for him to return my call.
Do you want to leave a message for whom?
Josh.
Okay, like I said, I cannot transfer you.
I can't transfer you to his voicemail. I can't take a message for you. We cannot help you out at all. Think about this. Think about how much resources and power the state has. They can investigate you for any little thing. But if they bring charges against you for that investigation, they can't tell you anything about them. They can't help you at all. If you don't go get an attorney, you don't have any rights. We can just come and take your property, take your daughter, take your family, take everything you have. Make sure you don't have any resources, and then we won't use any of our resources to let you know what we're going to use against you in court. What we say we're going to use against you in court, because apparently they're not even upholding one of our most fundamental rights, which is the right to be prosecuted. If you bring a charge against me, that's what the whole right to a fast and speedy trial is actually about. It's the right to be prosecuted. No, you're not just going to bring a charge against me and hold it over me for the rest of my life. Which is what they wish to do with her with this no prosecution order. They wish that they can just bring these charges back willy-nilly whenever they want to try and keep her scared from people getting Delilah back for her. That's the only thing that could be going on in my mind. And we have the answer. We all have the answer. If you have been following this case, if you have seen this from the beginning, you've seen the answer work. In this case, I'm going to tell you right now, upon information and belief, I allege through allegations that what the courthouse was doing down there to Angela is that they were going to arrest her, they were going to keep her locked up in a cage until she made a deal. Did something. she was going to eat it, and they didn't have anything. They never, ever, ever would take it to any type of trial with somebody who was going to fight back, even if it was somebody who didn't know the law like Angela. The only reason they were not successful at that is because Megan Fox wrote the article that I read on, when was it? It might have been May 3rd or something, March 3rd. I don't remember exactly, but I had the video up on the 6th. By some miracle of heaven, Angela got in touch with me on the 7th, and we talked for like 6 hours. We were supposed to talk basically right when she was getting arrested again. I was the first person she called when she got out of jail, and she would have stayed in that jail had we not sent the word out, had 20 to 30 people, maybe more, had them cutting off the WebEx to try and get people to go away, trying not to let anybody record on it. They let her go. They let her go about 3 weeks later. And they wouldn't have done that if, Megan, you wouldn't have been calling them. If there would have not been outside pressure from the people. And then how do they obliterate that? How do they obliterate that so easily? They just say, oh, those are sovereign citizens over there. They don't believe laws apply to them and the Constitution doesn't apply to them. And they're completely against freedom. So don't believe them sovereign citizens over there. And that the whole time, you're thinking that we're crazy for believing we have rights and freedom. People disband. They do not stick together the same way. After we had so much success, they meant to knock the media off of Angela. That's why it happened. That is why it happened. And with what has happened to Angela and how we have treated her through all of this, I would kind of say it's kind of up to us to make sure she at least gets Delilah back, at least for half the time. At least half the year. Something. We're not even asking for justice. We're not even asking that law be upheld against who I would consider the true sovereign citizens. And these are the things, because this next clip I'm about to show you, most of what you are talking about in this episode is a judicial officer making sovereign citizen arguments and how detrimental that is to society.
There's no excuse for not covering that story. It's an international story, and the local press refuses to cover it?
Uh-huh. Yeah, because they're in on it. They have legal teams that work for their media companies that
That's
have told them to shut up about all of the corruption that's going on in the legal system in St. Louis. They have told them, you know what they put on the news instead of my stories of court corruption? A snake on a can of baked beans in Georgia. That's not a lie. That happened. They reported at a Target that there was a snake on a can of baked beans. That was more important than my story of court corruption in St. Louis. That was more important than 31 judges recusing themselves from the bench because they colluded with guardians ad litem against a litigant in their own court.
That story was never.
What is going on, Rosa, in Missouri right now? What are the cases that are you working on? Anything new that we need to know about that I don't know about yet?
Like I said, I'm involved with another father. I don't want him to be retributed against or penalized.
I understand.
So
that's why I don't take these cases really. I was just telling somebody the other day, I got an email from somebody begging for help on one of these cases, and I wrote her back. I said, listen, one of the reasons I don't do these cases anymore is because maybe out of all the people I've tried to help, I helped one of them. One of them was actually helped by the media attention. The rest of them were retaliated against. retaliated against by judges and by the lawyers involved. And I can't be a part of that. I can't be a part of having children further harmed because of these people who get angry and they retaliate with this power. You saw that in this case, the judge used his power because he was angry to actually put children in jail. There is no low to which these people will not sink. So I understand why you don't want to name the case or talk about it, because if you do, they'll come after him to teach you a lesson, right?
Absolutely. They'll stick the IRS on you. After you and I did the national media coverage of my case, suddenly I got
I was going to clip that video out anyways and talk about it at some point in time, because I feel the exact same way. We're just losing our rights hand over fist. We have lost so many rights. I'm not even going to help anybody. Angela was because I love her. And I help a lot of people because I love them. That's why I never took $1 from Angela. And she really doesn't have it. She really doesn't have it. Nobody should be denied law because they don't have it. Because they can't give it to you. Nobody in our entire society should be denied law because they can't pay for it. They cannot afford it. And that's exactly what you're talking about in those videos. How much did it cost to get this person, this individual, making sovereign citizen arguments? How much did it cost to knock down their sovereign citizen argument? And should it? Should it? When you allow them to completely administrate your family with absolutely no consequences, how would they even learn how to do it right? Because when you have consequences in life, it kind of teaches you how not to move forward the next time. It's kind of like, I probably shouldn't do that because I completely ripped apart a really, really loving family. But that doesn't happen when you don't have consequences. And when you really do have consequences, people that evil, people who are so evil as to rip a little girl from her mom and give it over to a dad who she's willing to scream out in court sexually molest her. When you let that kind of evil get to that kind of high place in your society, your values are wrong. They're 100% wrong. That is so wrong, I do not even accurately know how to describe how wrong it is. And we don't value the right things in our society. Nicole Zellweger got a promotion. All of that stuff came out. It was talked about. She got a promotion. Angie still hasn't seen her daughter for over 2 years. People in the society are obviously worshiping wrong gods, wrong temples. If you look back in the oldest of history days, you had the Tower of Babel, the Capitol, the Temple of Jupiter to Rome. You had statues, the statue of the bull, the Baal bull, Wall Street, the Wall Street bull. You had statues. And you had high priests judging people. People judging each other was a novel idea when a jury was thought of. What do you have today? You have Capitol, Temple of Jupiter in Rome. How do people get to the Temple of Jupiter in Rome? We have this process called suffrage. What is suffrage? The act of a public prayer. Praying. The act of a public prayer. Worship. A title. Title of nobility. magistrate. Huh. What God do you follow? Do you follow a God that engineers, that designs a so unjust society that we wouldn't even be able to get Delilah back? I don't know about you, but I follow a different one. And we are just conspiracy, and we just wish to conspire to bring heaven down to earth so that all, high and low, can enjoy the law. It's what we do. Please join us again. Okay. I messed up the last ending, so I had to do it over. And also, new information came to light. Sam Crosby, the forced on Angela standby counsel, the forced upon her attorney that the court made her have because they wouldn't have jurisdiction over her any other way. They had to have someone turn her over to a new Lord, to a new God. They couldn't just judge her with our Creator's law because they know, sure as day, she did not break any laws. And they have trespassed all upon a couple of covenants God gave to her. The Creator gave to her. So Sam Crosby will not go file her motion to move the court to either force them to prosecute or discharge these ridiculous charges of threatening a judicial officer or whatever they charged her with. Because it's kind of against the law to just hold these charges over her head. That's why we have the right to a fast and speedy trial. Make sure that it's public. So I would ask that you please try and help her to get these filed. And if there's such sovereign citizen arguments, the court really shouldn't have any problem explaining them away. That really shouldn't be a problem. But the worst thing we could do is quit talking about this stuff. You say you're going to quit talking about this stuff because it hurts the families? Nobody knows that more than myself and Angela. I haven't ever seen you be punished the way that we have. And we're being punished because we're trying to show the public how lawless these courts are. I think the thing that hurt me the most is not that you called me a crazy sovereign citizen. I get that all the time. I think the thing that hurt me the most is that after everything you saw these courts do to Angela and all of the criminal activity you have seen go on in the courts with all of the reportings that you do, that for some reason you trusted officers of the court when they told you that we were domestic terrorists because we asked some pretty common sense questions. Without any hesitation, you tell people that Angela stole a bunch of money or kept a bunch of money. I don't think Evita gave Angela a dime. And you said that Evita didn't keep a dime from Angela. One of those has to be true and one of those has to be false. I don't know. I don't know. I have no first-hand knowledge. But I know what Angela has told me. And I know that the people who like to lie and say that we're domestic terrorists aren't exactly truthful. We're never going to figure this out without your help. We're never going to figure it out. And because you started this whole process, you started writing about Angela because you knew it in your heart to be wrong. I'm asking for you to listen to that heart again. The only other motion that Angela has to file is for them to give her all of her stuff back. The stuff they took away from her when they obviously wrongfully arrested her. And we can say that they obviously wrongfully arrested her now because they're trying not to prosecute her. After they took her daughter, after they gave her daughter away because of these charges, they took away her parental rights because of these charges. Whatever happened to the presumption of innocence? They're just going to tell you, oh, she's making sovereign citizen arguments. She's going down the wrong path. And you believe them. She's no longer innocent anymore. She took $18,000 from Avetta. Sure, maybe. How do we know? How do you know? This is a great story. Are you going to go see if the courthouse will actually file anything for Angela on her behalf? Or are you going to protect them? Or are you going to protect them? I'll hold you accountable for what you said. I do not understand why you were misled, but I don't care. You worked on bringing out the problems. You worked on talking about the problems. I appreciate that very much. All I ask is that you keep it up. Because if we stop talking about these things, they will never change. One word, live and peace.
What? Just come to court on April 12th. They'll let you know.
They'll let me know what?
What you're asking for. You're asking for a pretrial, aren't you?
Well, they had one scheduled. They canceled it. I want to know when they're rescheduling it.
Okay. Well, just come to court on April 12th. That's your next court date. And then ask them then.
Okay, and I had filings. Have they been filed? Because I don't see them in CaseNet.
Okay. Well, ask them on April 12th.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
All right. Bye.
We can either conspire together to make this world a better place for ourselves and our children, or you can pick a number and get in line and wait for the government to take everything you have.
Take any action related to your case. Just don't rock the boat. Wait a couple days and see if it's fixed. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so he just filed to drop charges. Why would they wait 2 years? That's odd.
I have no idea what he's thinking. I literally CaseNet just sent me the notice a minute ago, so
yeah.
I told you to call the clerk, but I wanted to make sure nothing happens to change this, if that makes sense.
Right, no, I understand what you're saying. Okay, so I'll just wait and see what happens.
Cool beans. Keep an eye on CaseNet.
Okay.
Audio that got leaked
thank you.
of I believe it was a 14-year-old girl, and the judge was, I wanted to say sentencing her, but telling her, no, you have to go live with your father, and she's pleading. Somebody leaked audio of this, pleading with the judge, saying, he molests me. He is my molester. Do not do this. And the judge threatened to send her mom to jail if she did not.
She didn't just threaten.
She did.
She didn't just threaten. She sent her mom to jail.